Okay, so we're going to call this part 3. What happened is instead of pressing pause, I pressed stop recording. So that was part 2, and now we're on to part 3. So I've already kind of painted in the dark areas of my windows, and now what I like to do is it's like I've made this dark color, right? This really nice dark black. And so now what I want to do to help myself out is kind of put it in places where I see it in other parts of where I'm working because I already have it made. So I'll bring it into the roof area. Because it's kind of a good thing to do because this paint can dry pretty quickly, and once you have a color, maybe you use it in other areas so you don't run out of it before it all dries up. And the color that I'm using is burnt sienna and phthalo blue to get this really dark color. Maybe I'll put it down here. And see my palette? I'm not all over the place. Okay, I'm not making huge colors or blobs of colors when I'm painting. I'm just make what I need when I need it. Okay, now I'm going to paint my I have extra brushes on here that I'm not even using. They don't even have any paint on them. I'm just holding them. I'm not going to paint my roof. My roof is like a red. So I'm going to come back to that idea of like that local color that I talked about in the sky. It's kind of like you paint like the main value or the main shade, the main color, but then you come in with the lights and the darks. First, I need to find that color of what my roof is. So I'm over here kind of mixing off to the side, trying to find a close match. So I'm kind of just putting in this flat color for a second. But then I'll have to come back and give it some lights and darks, or at least a little bit of light. Right now it's like too flat. Oh, almost messed up big time. That could have been tragic. Maybe I want to make it look more like a roof. So I'll bring in like lines to give it more texture. And so since I just put down that red, it's still wet. So I'm gonna have to probably let it dry for a little bit, and then I'll come back to it to add more of the detail, the texture on it. I can't just go away, can I? All right, so now I'm gonna go move on to another roof. So that color that I'm mixing to get this roof red is red and yellow primarily. Need more paint. Ooh, that got really orange. It's kind of like a pink, really, that roof. So how could I get that more pink? Well, I could add a touch of white. I don't want to go crazy though. Let's see what this looks like. It doesn't look too bad. Maybe my roof is not the same as my other roof. That's okay. I can't make everything the same all the time. It's hard to get it all. So I kind of put my local color in, and now I'm kind of starting to lighten it a little bit, and I'm adding just a little bit of white to that red yellow mixture. So that is a little lighter. And you know, always pay attention to what's happening on your reference. I'm always like looking back and forth at my picture here in front of me to see what's happening. So I kind of lighten that a little bit. It's tricky. You guys don't see it as well. The colors are a little different from what you guys see on the video, because they're very and maybe I'm adding more texture there on the roof than there is in my picture. That's okay. You can kind of do stuff like that. All right, so I'll leave that alone for a little bit. All right, so I've already done that roof, and I've come into, now I'm starting to do like the sides of my buildings. So there's one over here on the left that was just purely white, and this one is too, but this one has more colors in it. And then I also did kind of like found a color of what was happening underneath the roof, kind of like that blue violet shadow, and I kind of threw that in. So it's like I put that white down and I see other colors happening in, so then that's why then it's doing that. If you can see, hopefully. Hold my arm up. There's like this yellow. It's kind of sprinkled there on my house. It's not just like a perfect flat color. So again, it's like I put that local color down, and now I'm adding. I added that little bit of blue and the yellow to kind of dirty it up a little bit, or not have it so like perfect. I'll probably come back later and add even more bits of texture once it's all like dry. So, okay. So then this building, or that side, it's like a deep violet, so I need to get a new brush here. Make probably phthalo blue and bright red to get a nice deep dark violet color. So again, it's like I found that local color, that purple, or that violet. It's kind of most of this side of the building, but it does get lighter, and then there is some blue in it, but kind of putting that down here. Then I will move on and put some pinks and lighter violet lavenders down here. So then I'll add white to what I was mixing and using. Try to kind of soften that. So I made that dark purple, and I came in with a lavender, and I'm coming in with like this pink. So I start with light first. And then I come in with, no. I start with my darker values first. And then I come in with like the medium and the lighter values to build up the detail and the texture. Probably later on I'll make those windows even darker. I'm really not a fan of how that's ending there, but so, you know, it's going to be hard, tricky to get, you know, you can't get every single color and shape happening, you know, that's okay. I know that. You're just trying to get, you know, a majority. You don't want to leave out key things, obviously, but you can't get every single minute color. And I need to make this blue-green lime color. So I'll probably mix my blue and yellow. Put a little bit of white in it because it seems like it's a little, ooh, look at that. That's a pretty color. So maybe now I'm ready. That tree is dry. So now I want to sprinkle some white and blue highlights. Now that my building is done-ish, or I'm gonna call it done. You can come in on top of it. So once you're done, then you can like come on top of it and be okay, because you gotta make sure you're done with what's underneath, because it's hard to go underneath once you've gone on top of. And highlights and stuff like this of what I'm doing in that tree, you know, this takes time too. It's like you kind of add it, but you may have to come back later on to add it to add another layer to build it up. All right, so I paused it and then I kept going, and I painted this building over here. Then I sprinkled in more white highlights and then yellow highlights. And then I even like added more highlights over here. I had to cover up some of this with my mountain and fix that shape some more. And then I went over all of my windows again just to make them pop out a little bit more, to keep them dark. All right, so that's part 3.